I myself, King Hayonggeng, representing Red House. In this afternoon, I'd like to share a short story of a faithful man named Job. Job is a wealthy man living in a land called Uz. With his large family and extensive flocks, he is blameless and always upright, always careful to avoid doing evil. One day, Satan appeared before God in heaven. God boasts to Satan about Job's goodness. But Satan argues that Job is only good because God has blessed him with abundantly. Satan challenged God, if given permission to punish the man, Job will turn and curse God. God allowed Satan to torment Job to test his bold plan. In the course of one day, Job received 4 messages, each bearing separate news that his livestock, servants, and all his 10 children have all died due to natural catastrophes. Job tore his clothes and sat his head in mourning. But Job still praised God in his prayer. Satan appeared in heaven again, and God grants him another chance to test Job. This time, Job is afflicted with horrible skin sores, and his wife encouraged him to curse God and to give up and to die. But Job refused, struggling to accept his circumstances. Job, despite losing his children, wealth, and health, and being urged by his wife to curse God, refusing to blaspheme. Job maintained his integrity and faith, refusing to blaspheme. Instead, he worshipped God by saying, "The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Job humbled himself and renewing his trust in God. In the end, God restored Job's health and blessed him again.
Judges, teachers, and to all my dear friends. Today, I want to narrate a story of Job. I myself, Kaunam, got mine of class 9, representing Yellow House. The story of Job began. Long ago, in the land of Uz, there lived a man named Job. He was faithful, honest, and a good man who feared God and turned away from evil. Because of this, God blessed him with a huge amount of animals, camels, oxen, and sheep, and 7 handsome sons and 3 beautiful daughters. He offered sacrifice every day, in just in case his children had done something wrong. One day, there is a time that God's children had come before God, present them before God. And there Satan also among them. And God said to Job, "You are the only man that I can put trust in all this earth." And Satan said, "Job has remained faithful to you because you have given him a huge amount of wealth and a good children to you." But God said, "It is not because of this. He was purely good and a humble man." And God allowed Satan to test Job, but not to harm his life. Soon, terrible things began to happen. His animals were destroyed or killed, and his children were killed by the strong wind when they were in the eldest brother's home, eating and drinking wine. This was the news that the worst thing that had happened to the Job. But Job remained faithful to God and he did not spoke any wrong words things to the Lord. And again, there was a day that the students of the Lord had appeared themselves before the Lord, and the Satan also among them. And the Satan said, Job will surely turn away from you and stop praying to you if I have touched his body. But Lord allowed Satan to taste Job.
Hold fast his integrity, though Satan incited God to destroy against him without any reason. So without any further delay, let's dive into the story. There lived a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. Job was a man who is blameless and upright, who feared God and shunned evil. Unto him were born 7 sons and 3 beautiful daughters. He possessed 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and very many servants, so that this man was the greatest and richest man of the East. And there is a time when his sons hold a feast in the house of the one on his day. And they would also invite their sisters to accompany them for drinking and eating. And when the feast was running in course, Job would send and consecrate them. And early in the morning he would rise up and offer a burnt offering to the Lord according to the number of them. For he said, It may be that my children's may sins and curse God in your heart. And thus Job did continually. One day, when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, there was also a Satan. Among them was also a Satan. Then the Lord said to Satan, From where have you come? Then the Satan answered and said, From going to and fro and walking up and down on the earth. Then the Lord said to Satan, Have you considered my servant Job? For there is none like him who feared God and shunned evil. Then the Satan answered and said, Does Job fear God for nothing? Stretch out your arm in all that he has, and he will surely curse to your face.
I myself, Sons of Priscilla, am representing Red House. Today I am going to tell you the inspiring story of Queen Esther, a story of courage, wisdom, and faith. This story is found in the book of Esther, chapter 1 to 10. Long ago, in the great kingdom of Persia, there lived a mighty king named King Xerxes. He ruled over a vast empire. At that time, Queen Vashti was removed from the throne because she disobeyed the king. After this, the king's servants searched for a new queen. Among the young women brought to the palace was a beautiful, kind, and humble Jewish girl named Esther. She was an orphan and had been brought up by her cousin Mordecai. Mordecai loved her like his own daughter. When the king saw Esther, he was pleased with her grace and beauty. Out of all the women, he chose Esther and made her the new queen. But Esther kept one secret. She did not tell anyone that she was Jewish, just as Mordecai had advised her. Now, in the king's palace, there was a proud and wicked man named Haman. He was an important officer in the king's court. Haman wanted everyone to bow down before him. Everyone bowed except Mordecai. Mordecai refused to bow because he feared God more than men. This made Haman very angry. His anger grew into hatred, and he made a cruel plan not only to punish Mordecai but to destroy all the Jewish people in the kingdom. When Mordecai heard this terrible news, he sent words to Queen Esther and begged her to help save her people. At first, Esther was afraid. In those days, no one was allowed to go before the king without being called. Anyone who did so could be punished with death. But Mordecai reminded her that perhaps God had made her queen for this very moment. Then Esther showed great courage and said the famous word, "If I perish, I perish." She asked her people to pray for 3 days. and she bravely went before the king. The king welcomed Esther with kindness. She invited the king and Haman to a special banquet. At the banquet, Esther revealed Haman's evil plans and told the king that she herself was one of the people Haman wanted to destroy. The king was shocked and filled with anger. Haman was punished on the very gallows. Mordecai was then honored by the king, and because of Esther's bravery, all the Jewish people were saved. Queen Esther became a symbol of courage and faith. Her story teaches us that even one brave person can change the destiny of many. The moral of the story is be brave in difficult times, stand up for what is right, and trust God with courage and faith in it all. I myself, Iris Game, I representing Blue House. Today I am going to tell the inspiring story of Queen Esther. Long ago in mighty Persian Empire, there ruled a powerful king named Ahasuerus. He loved grand celebrations and once held a feast that lasted for many days. During one such feast, he called for his queen Vashti to come over and display her beauty, but Queen Vashti refused. The king became very angry and removed her from her position. Soon he began searching for a new queen. Among the many young women brought to the palace was a beautiful and kind girl named Esther. She was a Jew and had been raised by her cousin Mordecai, who loved her like a daughter. Esther was gentle and wise. She quickly won the favors of everyone in the palace. The king was very pleased and chose her to be his queen. However, Esther kept her identity a secret just as Mordecai had advised. Mordecai was at the king's gate. One day, he overheard a plot to kill the king. He quickly informed Esther, who told the king and saved his life. Mordecai's good deeds was written in the royal reports. Meanwhile, a proud and wicked man named Haman was made an high official. Everyone was ordered to go, but Mordecai refused. This made Haman furious. In his anger, he planned not only to punish Mordecai but to destroy the Jewish people in the kingdom. He convinced the king to law ordering their destruction. Mordecai asked for help, though going to the king uninvited could mean death. Esther prayed and fasted, then bravely said, "If I perish, I perish." She invited the king and Haman to the banquet. At that same night, the king discovered Mordecai had never been rewarded for saving him. At the second banquet, Esther revealed that she was a Jew and exposed Haman's evil plan. Haman was punished on the gallows he built for Mordecai. The Jews were allowed to defend themselves and were saved. Mordecai was honored. This victory is celebrated as the festival of Purim. Moral, courage, faith, and doing what is right can overcome even the greatest danger.
Judges, teachers, and my dear friends. I myself, Michael, representing Greenhouse. Today I bring you a story not just about a queen, but about courage in the face of fears. This is the story of Esther. Long ago in the powerful kingdom of Persia, there lived a young girl named Esther. She was an orphan raised with love and wisdom by her cousin Mordecai. Though her life was simple, her heart was strong. Far away in a grand palace, King Xerxes was searching for a queen. Out of many, Esther was chosen. Her life changed overnight from an ordinary girl to a royal queen. But Esther carried a secret. She was Jewish and no one in palace knew. Now in the king's court, there was a man named Haman. He was powerful but filled with pride. He demanded that everyone bow before him. Whenever he passed, people bow. But Mordecai stood tall. Mordecai refused to bow because he believed in bowing only to God. This made Haman furious. His anger turned into hatred, turned into a terrible plan to destroy all the Jewish people in the kingdom. He even tricked the king into making a law that could not be changed. When Mordecai heard this, he sent a message to Esther. Do not think you will escape. You may have become queen for such a time as this. Esther was afraid. She knew the risk one wrong step could cost her life. But Esther chose courage over fear. She said, gather everyone and pray for me. I will go to the king, and if I perish, I perish. For 3 days she fasted and prayed, then with a brave heart she went into the king's court. The king saw her and held out his golden scepter. She was said, what is your request, my queen? He asked. Esther invited the king and Haman to a banquet. That night she waited patiently for the right moment. Finally she spoke. My king, I ask for my life and the life of my people. We are in danger. The king was shocked who has done this. Esther pointed to Haman. The king was filled with anger. Haman's evil plans were stopped. Justice was done and the people were saved. Mordecai was honored and peace returned to the land. The moral of the story is that even an ordinary person can do something extraordinary. Courage can change the futures, and sometimes we are chosen for a purpose.